Hey guys, so this week we're going to be taking a look at a brand new travel backpack from Hynes Eagle. And so this brought a little bit of nostalgia to me just because one of the first travel bags that we reviewed way back in the day was a budget option from Hynes Eagle. And that was a 40-liter bag that was really great. I still think it's a great bag for the price range that it was in. And so I was very excited when the company reached out to see if I wanted to test out one of their updated travel bags. And so they were kind enough to send one over, and I've been testing it out for the past couple of weeks. And I have to say I was really excited with a lot of the updates that they made to the style and the features in the bag, and that they were able to keep it in the same price range as the original bag that we looked at. So I want to go ahead and thank the company again for sending the bag over for me to test out. And let's just go ahead and dive in and take a closer look at the new travel bag from Hynes Eagle. So starting out with the outside of the bag, I really like the overall aesthetic that the company has chosen to go with here. You can definitely tell that this is a travel backpack, but it still has a pretty sleek look, especially with the black coloring that we have here. The bag is offered in a bunch of different colors. They have blue, red, tan, and of course this black. They have a few more, and you can check them all out on Amazon, but I really like the black style here. I think it gives the bag a little bit of a sleeker look, and it is a larger bag, so anything that can help to slim it down is going to be a nice bonus. One of the biggest updates from the original Hynes Eagle bag that we looked at is the material that the bag is made out of. So the original bag that we looked at had a sort of polyester type material, and what they've done here is replaced it with a really durable feeling nylon, which offers a lot of water resistance. It feels really solid, like it's going to keep water out, and it's also very light, which is important considering the size of this bag. So the bag itself is not light. It actually weighs around 3 pounds, but it is a very large bag. So for its size, that's actually a pretty decent weight, and the nylon material really helps to keep the bag itself feeling a little bit lighter, especially as you start to load this out with a lot of stuff. Since we're talking about the capacity, I will jump into probably my biggest sticking point with the bag is that this is just much bigger than the type of bag that I will typically want to travel with. I've always said that 40 liters is kind of my limit, especially if I'm traveling internationally. That just seems to be around the size where it starts to get a little bit on the edge of whether you'll have to check the bag. And so this bag is 44 liters at its most expanded point, but I do really like the fact that it can compress down to a 38 liter bag with the compression straps that it has on the outside. But as I was saying, at its 44 liter capacity, the bag does get very big. So if you're somebody who likes to pack a little bit more, or you're gonna be traveling for a little bit longer, this is going to be a good option to take a look at. You can definitely fit enough stuff in here for 2 to 3 weeks. In the past, we've looked at bags like the Standard Luggage Co. travel backpack, which even though it's rated at 35 liters, I think is very close to this in size. So we have looked at some larger bags in the past, and for the most part, this is still going to be okay on most airlines, especially if you're traveling within the US. You shouldn't run into any issues. But once you get into the smaller, more budget airlines overseas, you may run into issues if you fully pack this out and are trying to carry on with it. I've found in the past that if you wear bags like this on, you typically won't have too many problems. But if you fill it out completely, you are going to start to get a little bit on the heavier side with the bag, and also it might get a little bit wide for those little metal racks that companies like Ryanair have, where they may ask you to place your bag. So there will be a little bit of a risk of having to check the bag. The good thing about that is that you do have the ability to tuck the straps away, which we'll walk through in a little bit, which is always a nice feature to have, because if you can tuck those straps away and you have to check the bag, at least you have the peace of mind that they're not going to get caught on anything and ripped, as you do want your backpack straps to survive any sort of travel. So a little bit bigger than what I would typically want to travel with, but as I mentioned, the use of the nylon here and the ability to tuck the straps away really help make that manageable, and the ability to compress the bag down is also going to be really helpful. So if you have a bag like this, it's nice that you can pack a lot of stuff into it, but you don't have to pack it out completely. And in that case, as I mentioned, you can compress it down to around 38 liters, which is a much more manageable size in my opinion. So as I was wearing the bag when it was fully filled out, it did stick out just a little bit, but not as much as I would have expected for the size that it was. And especially with the compression straps, as you can see in the footage here, it doesn't come out that badly. It doesn't look too much like a travel backpack, like some of the Osprey backpacks that I've seen that are a little bit more technical and they really look like touristy type bags. This has a little bit more of a subtle look in my opinion. And I like that even when it's completely full with the compression straps, it still hugs your back a good amount. So if you're gonna be traveling on public transit, it's not gonna be that bad. It should still be fairly easy to tuck away in an overhead compartment or into some of the racks that you'll find on buses or vans sometimes. So really trying to strike a good balance between offering the maximal capacity but not going overboard. Continuing on with the outside of the bag, it has some really great zippers. These have been really easy to use. They slide very easily, very smoothly, as you can see. This style of zipper I've never quite been as crazy about as some of the YKK zippers that have the storm guards that offer just a little bit more protection. against water. So I haven't noticed any issue with water getting into these zippers, but they do feel a little bit more exposed to me than some of the zippers that we've seen on bags like the Air Travel Pack 2, which has really nice covering over all its zippers. So just something to note, as I mentioned, I haven't run into any issues. It's something I'll be keeping an eye out, and the rest of the materials used on the bag do feel very water resistant. So nice durable and lightweight materials used here. It definitely feels like the bag isn't gonna tear or anything like that, which is nice to see. The bag has really comfortable handles on the top and side of the bag, so it has this really soft kind of gel-like material, which makes it very comfortable to hold, especially if you're holding this while the bag is completely filled. It's gonna get decently heavy, and so you want something nice and padded like this. So if you are maybe gonna check the bag and you tuck the straps away, it's nice that you have a comfortable handle to carry it kind of like a briefcase or suitcase. And then it has the same style of handle here on the top so that you can pick the bag up or put it down very easily. And if you just need to hold it while you're walking through TSA or something, this is gonna be a nice, comfortable handle. And so I really like that the handles don't come out too much. They blend in very well with the bag. And I just really like the soft gel-like material that was used here. It makes the handles very comfortable to hold. Continuing on with the outside of the bag, I was very excited to see that there is a water bottle compartment. And so, as you can see here, I have the same water bottle that I've used in all my other travel bag videos, and that fits in here very comfortably. It sticks out just a little bit towards the top, but still a nicely sized compartment. And it also has some elastic material here that allows you to put something a little bit thicker if you need. If you have a bigger water bottle or a tripod or something like that, you're gonna be able to fit it in here pretty comfortably. And the elastic also brings the pocket back towards the bag if you don't have anything in there, so that it's not jutting out awkwardly. As I mentioned earlier, the bag has the ability to tuck the backpack straps away, so if you do have to check this, this will keep them protected against getting snagged on anything. And then when the straps are tucked away, it's nice that the bag has a suitcase pass-through. So here it has a very large sleeve that would allow you to put this through your suitcase handle, so that if you didn't want to carry this and you wanted to rest it on an additional bag that you were taking with you, you'd be able to rest that comfortably. This is very secure. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall off your suitcase. I would think that if you're traveling with a bag this size, this might be a feature you don't use too often, as most of your stuff will probably be in here, but it's nice that you at least have the feature of resting this on your suitcase, as it could get pretty heavy, and if you're traveling with multiple bags, any time that you can save with this off your back will be a nice bonus. So really nice implementation here. Speaking of the back of the bag, as you can see here, there is a nice amount of padding to keep you comfortable while you're wearing this for longer periods of time throughout the day. Nice soft padding here on the lower back, on the shoulders. I really love how soft this is, and the fact that it has some meshy material here to help keep air flowing and prevent moisture buildup. I also like that the padding is nice and elevated to provide this nice air channel here to reduce the amount of moisture that'll build up throughout the day. So really comfortable bag, and that's really important considering the size and weight that will likely be in this bag because of its size. So I was glad to see that it was very comfortable to wear all throughout. Moving on to the straps. At the moment, they're currently tucked away behind this little sleeve here, which keeps them protected when you're not using them, but they're very easy to take out from this sleeve. And then they attach to the bottom of the bag with these clips here. You have one on each side. I really like how quickly you're able to turn this from suitcase into a backpack. These clips make it very quick and simple, so if you're in the airport and in a rush and you suddenly find out you have to check this, it's very easy to unclip these and tuck them away. So that's very, very nice to see. I also like the use of clips as opposed to the hooks that we've seen in other travel bags like this, because I feel like sometimes those tend to rotate and can sometimes dig into your back, so you don't really have that issue here. So I thought that was a nice bonus. And talking about the straps themselves, they're very comfortable. Right out of the box, they're super broken in and they just feel really soft. They offer a nice amount of padding. They have the same meshy material that the back paneling had, providing some nice airflow here. And they have a good width, which is great to see, especially with a bag of this size. When you're carrying this much weight, you really want the straps to be wide enough so that the bag doesn't start to dig into your shoulders as you're wearing this for a longer period of time. So nice width here. The padding on the straps is comfortable, but it's a little bit thinner than I would like to see for this size of bag, considering how much you'll likely be carrying with you. But then I always have to remind myself that at the price point this is offered at, these are actually pretty solid straps. At the top here, the way these straps have been sewn in, it looks very secure. I'm very impressed actually, especially because the straps are one of the weak points with the original bag that we looked at. I didn't run into any issues while I was traveling with it, but the stitching on it didn't look as solid as it did here. So in my original review, I noted that I was a little worried that over a longer period of time with a lot of weight, the straps might rip. but I feel like they've improved how this is sewn on very much, and this feels like it's gonna hold up well, which is great to see considering how big the bag is gonna be. The bag also has an adjustable sternum strap to help distribute some of that weight, and it includes a removable waist strap, which attaches and removes very easily using these sturdy looking clips here. There's these loops here on the bottom where you can attach it and detach it very quickly. And so it's nice to see that they've included the waist strap for a little bit of additional support considering the size of the bag. I do wish that a better waist strap had been included. I know the bag is a very reasonable price already, so maybe a lot to expect for this price of bag. But waist straps such as this, I've never found that they actually help add any additional support for me. So with a larger bag like this, having something with a little bit more padding on the strap as opposed to just a simple strap like this would have been nice to see. It's still nice to at least have this if you are somebody who likes the feeling of having that additional support even with the strap just like this. And I also really like the fact that it's removable if you want to reduce the amount of straps that you take with you, and if you're like me and don't find that this actually adds that much value. Moving on to the compartments of the bag, the first one I'll call out here is the side access laptop compartment that the bag has, which is really nice to see. I love when travel bags have this side access compartment as it's very easy to get to quickly. And the compartment has this nice covering over the zipper to offer a little bit of additional protection against the weather. And so it's a nicely spaced compartment. I really like that even when the bag is filled out completely, as I have it here, the laptop doesn't feel like it's super tight or like there's any sort of bend going on with it. So really nice, spacious compartment. As you can see here, I have my 13-inch MacBook Pro, but this should be able to hold a 15-inch laptop for sure, and possibly even a 17-inch. As you can see, there's a lot of leftover space here, so really nice to see that. The compartment itself has a good amount of padding. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any sort of felt lining on the inside to help prevent against scratching, but still feels like it's gonna offer a good amount of protection. As I mentioned, it's very easy to get the device in and out of the bag quickly. And here you can see the compartment when it's empty. One thing I was happy to see is that the compartment does have a good amount of padding on the bottom to help protect your laptop against any drops. So I'm not sure if the compartment itself is actually elevated, but there is at least some sort of padding, and when you put the bag down, your laptop isn't actually making contact with the ground, which is the most important thing. So really nice job here on the laptop compartment. Love how much space was offered. Moving on to the compartments on the front of the bag, I feel like this is an area where the backpack really excelled. I love how many different organizational options are provided on the bag. And more importantly, I find that the compartments are really intelligently laid out, which makes them all very useful. As you can see, there's a nice flap that comes over the zipper here. So that's great to see that additional protection in case you do have something a little bit more sensitive in here. And so opening the compartment up, this is just a very simple compartment, no internal organization. As you can see here, it has a fair amount of volume, which was nice to see in case you do want to put something a little bit more bulky in here. So currently what I have in here is my BluePop portable Bluetooth speaker and power bank. And then I also put my GoPro Hero 3 Plus in here. Even with those items, there's plenty of leftover space. This is a pretty large compartment. I was impressed with just how much space is offered here and how well it handled bulkier items, as those are some of the things that I'll typically want to get to more throughout my trip. As you can see here, no soft inner lining, kind of the same material that the rest of the bag has on the inside, but just a really great simple compartment where you can also put snacks. And this is definitely a compartment I'd use while going through security to maybe put something like my belt or my wallet. So it's nice that it comes out so wide so that I can really just toss things in there and be able to grab them quickly. Moving to the upper accessory compartments on the front of the bag, as you can see, there's a few pockets kind of on top of each other. So the first one here is just a smaller quick access compartment, not that different from the one that we just looked at on the bottom. So no internal organization, a very simple compartment, but also a surprising amount of volume here. I was really happy with what I was able to fit in here. And as you can see, what I currently have in here is my Ray-Ban sunglasses with their case. And then I also have my UTech wireless charger for my phone. So just a nice amount of space here. I love these kind of bigger catch-all compartments because it really gives me a lot of flexibility with what I can throw in here. And even though the zipper of this compartment doesn't extend the full width of the bag, the compartment itself actually comes out all the way to the sides. And then the last compartment here on the outside that we're gonna go through is what I would consider the main organizational or admin area. This is the one area that has a lot of internal organization here on the outside. So some really nice slip pockets on the inside. I really like the versatility of this pocket and the fact that even if you're using the other compartments on the front, you still have space in this pocket to organize more stuff. So I really like that you don't have to kind of choose one pocket over the other, but that you can kind of manage everything together. And so just starting out with the depth of this pocket, this is a pretty deep pocket. It offers a good amount of space. It goes all the way past the compartment we just looked at here to about the middle of the bag. So you will be able to fit something like a book or a magazine in here. As you can see, it has this slip pocket here on the back, which might be a good spot to put something like a tablet or a magazine. It's not padded or anything like that, so it really is just a very simple slip pocket, which is why currently what I have in here is my GoRuck wire dock, where I have some of the other dongles and adapters and cables that I typically carry with me while I'm traveling. And we've done an in-depth review for this. If you guys want to take a closer look at what I typically pack in here, make sure to check out the link for that in the description below. And so that slip pocket does go almost all the way to the bottom of the compartment. It doesn't quite reach the same depth, but it's pretty deep. So definitely a spot where I might put something like my iPad mini 2 or my Kindle if I didn't have my wire dock there at the moment. And then continuing on with the organization in the compartment, there are a few slip pockets. And in this first one here, what I currently have is my Apple Magic Mouse. And I really like the size of these slip compartments. It doesn't quite fit my whole hand, but it's still fairly deep. And as you can see, it has a good amount of space here. So if you wanted to put something like a larger portable power bank or a portable hard drive or something like that, it should fit in here very comfortably. Then next to that, there's two slots that you could use for pens or a stylus. Currently what I have in here is just a stylus laser pointer combo that I like to take with me. And then next to that is another slip pocket that's very similar in size to the first one that we looked at here. So they're almost identical. They go down about the same length. And currently what I have in here is just my field notes notebook, but I could have fit the Magic Mouse or portable hard drive in there as well. And then on top of that, there is a smaller zippered compartment, which goes about the length of my fingers. I really like that this has some mesh so that you can see what's on the inside of this compartment. This seems like it's gonna be a great spot to put those smaller items that may be loose within your bag. Something like a USB stick or some memory cards, or even like a headphone splitter. So those are all the types of items that I would typically include in my wire dock. But if you don't have an additional organizer that you're traveling with, this is gonna be a good spot to kind of hold all that stuff so that you can find it easily and make sure that it doesn't get lost while you're on the go. And then it's really nice to see that the compartment has enough volume that if you don't want to use this internal organization, you can just stuff some items down here into the bottom. So if you have a thinner dop kit that you want to throw in here and be able to grab quickly, or even a light jacket, you can probably roll that up and stick it in here as well. So moving on to the main compartment, in order to get into the bag, you'll have to release the 4 compression straps, which is really nice as it does offer a little bit of additional security in addition to the fact that it compresses the bag down when it's not that full. So you can release all 4 here. And the bag does open up like a suitcase, which is great to see for a travel backpack. That makes packing super easy. So just coming around here, you can see the bag open up to its full capacity. So lots to go through in this main area. The first thing I'll call out is that with a bag this size, I always like to travel with a day pack of some sort, something that I can just pack inside this bigger area so that I can use while I'm on my day-to-day and wherever I'm traveling. And so my favorite bag for this purpose is the Tortuga Outbreaker Day Pack. As you can see, it packs down super flat, and we've done an in-depth review for this as well. So if you want to take a closer look at how I use this, make sure to check out the video for that. The main area is divided into kind of 2 big compartments, and they're both separated out with nice large zippered areas. And so just starting out with this mesh zippered area here that you can see, this is kind of the larger compartment. From what I could see, this one actually shares space with the back of the bag. So as you can see, this is where it's going to offer the most volume and probably where I would store my bulkiest items that I'm going to be traveling with. And so just opening this compartment up, really nice zippers here, tons of space. And so I filled this out with the same items that you've seen in some of my other travel bag videos. I even included some larger and additional items just to kind of showcase the space that this bag has. But even with all that, as you can see, there's still leftover space in these larger compartments. So if I needed to, I'd have the ability to pack an additional pair of shoes or a larger packing cube or maybe another jacket. So just nice to have that extra space. If you're gonna travel with a big bag, that's one of the biggest benefits, is that you're gonna have more flexibility in how you can organize everything. And so the items that I currently have in this first compartment are my larger double-sided packing cube that typically houses my jeans, my dress shirts, and just my larger clothing items. And then I also have a pair of Toms, which I always travel with. And so as you can see here, this compartment is just very simple, just kind of a large bucket of space where you can organize things however you want. So really beneficial if you're like me and you travel with packing cubes. It's nice to not have any clutter in this main compartment so that you can just maximize the use of space. And so moving on to the other side of the main compartment, as you can see on the outside, there's 2 smaller, equally sized mesh zippered compartments. So if you have toiletries or underwear and socks, or just smaller items that you don't quite know where to put. You can squeeze them in here. You can maybe fold the tie up and put it here, or a belt. So just some nice simple compartments to add a little bit of additional organization. They are a little bit on the thinner side. They don't have quite as much volume, so I wouldn't put anything too thick in here. As you can see, I just haven't used them at all, as most of my stuff is contained in the packing cubes. And so just opening this compartment up, also a very smooth zipper, lots of space, and the best thing is that it doesn't feel like the compartment is exploding. So even though I filled this out pretty good, I still feel like there's enough wiggle room that I'm not gonna be worried about my bag tearing as I'm walking around. And so as I was saying before, because of the larger space that this bag offers, I was interested to play with some of the larger items that I typically will try to not take with me as much if I'm using a smaller bag. So the first item here is my Beats Solo Wireless 2. And then I have my Air Dop Kit, which is one of my favorite Dop kits, but I will typically not use it with the smaller backpacks that I travel with. I like to use the in-case accessory kit, as you've seen in a lot of my more recent videos. But with a little bit more space, I do like the style and additional organization that this offers. Next up, I have an extra pair of shoes than what I typically travel with. Here I have some Hawaiiana shoes. I really love how flat these pack down. These are super convenient, especially when I'm traveling to locations that are gonna be a little bit more tropical, and I know I'm gonna be going to the beach or going in the water, or maybe even a water park or something. This is a nice alternative to Toms if I know I'm gonna be getting wet. Next up, I just have a pair of flatter sneakers. These are my Penguin Chiller shoes. They have kind of a Converse type style with them. I really like the versatility of this style of shoe. And then the last item that I have here is my smaller packing cube, which has my underwear, my socks, and my t-shirts, and kind of the lighter clothing items that I typically travel with. So just another really great, spacious, and more importantly, simple pocket. As you saw, I was able to lay everything in here very easily, very simply, and I love how easily having this much space and not having any clutter inside of the compartment makes packing. So I'm glad that there's no internal zipper compartments here or kind of compression straps that can kind of get in the way. And then I'm just given a lot of space to organize everything into these two main compartments the way that works best for me. So I really love when bags offer that sort of versatility. And then as an added bonus, even though I typically don't travel with bags this big, it is a little bit of a treat to be able to have that extra versatility every once in a while. So great job overall with the Hynes Eagle travel backpack, and this is definitely going to be a great option to look at for all different types of travelers, especially if they have a little bit of a tighter budget. And so to wrap up, I've been really impressed with this bag. As I talked about during the video, I really loved a lot of the features, the style, and most importantly, the price. It's just really great to see that you can still get a great budget travel bag for people that don't want to spend as much on one of the higher end bags that we've looked at in the past on the channel. And so you can purchase this bag on Amazon for about $80. And what's crazy is that's actually the same price that I paid for the original Hynes Eagle bag that we looked at a while back. So great to see that they were able to make some updates, add some new features, make the bag even a little bit bigger, and still keep that same good price point. And so at $80, this is gonna be a really great price point for anybody who's looking to kind of buy their first travel bag, or who isn't as hardcore of a traveler that's gonna be needing something that's gonna hold up for many, many years on end. The bag has a good amount of durability, as we talked about, but at $80, of course, it's not gonna hold up as well as something that is in the $200 or $300 price range. The materials are a little bit different, but it's still very well made. For the original Hynes Eagle bag that we looked at, that held up very well, and it wasn't quite as durable as this one, so they're gonna hold up for most travelers, especially if this isn't something you're gonna be wearing for hours and hours on end with tons of weight throughout the city. So just a sturdy feeling bag for the price point. Some other great bags in this price range that we've looked at in the past, besides the original Hynes Eagle bag that we looked at, would be something like the Amazon Basics travel backpack, which is about $50, which is, I've always been super impressed that they were able to get the price point that low. And that's also a really nice bag that's held up well over time, especially at that price point. And it's about the same size. I personally don't like the style and look of that bag quite as much as this one, but they're gonna have a similar carrying capacity. And that bag doesn't have quite as much in the way of organization as this bag had. This one had a lot of internal and external compartments to kind of hold all your stuff. And it's also gonna be just a little bit heavier than this bag because of the nylon used here. It is a little bit lighter than the Amazon Basics travel backpack, but considering that bag's even cheaper at $50, it's gonna be a very compelling option. Another bag that this reminded me a lot of was the standard Luggage Co. travel backpack that we looked at a while back. It had a very similar capacity to this. The build quality on that's gonna be a little bit sturdier. They had some really nice ballistic nylon on that bag, but the price range is also gonna be about $100 more, so it comes in at $180, and it comes with a lot of cool features and accessories. And so the higher price point on that may be a little bit of a turnoff for some travelers, but If you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit more durable and offer a similar capacity, maybe even a little bit more as that bag expands to a larger size, the standard Luggage Co. travel backpack will be a great option to take a look at. That's held up really well. And as with the other bags that we've mentioned in the video, we've done an in-depth review for that, so I'll make sure to include a link in the description below so you can check that out. And then the last bag I'll throw out there, even though it's not exactly a travel backpack, is the Nomadic Travel Bag, the duffel style bag that we've talked about a lot on the channel. That bag has a 40-liter capacity, so it's going to be very close in size to this, so if you need to carry a little bit more, but are looking for a bag that maybe has a little bit more weather resistance or some additional accessories or just a lot of organization for your tech, that's going to be a really good option to take a look at. I've talked about it a lot on the channel and I've used it on many trips. It's held up super well. And if you guys are curious to learn about that one, I definitely recommend you check out the review we've done for it in the past. That bag's going to be between $220 and about $180. There's been a lot of sales going on around the holiday season, so you may be able to pick one up for a pretty great deal. And so that one's going to be a little bit different, as I mentioned, just because it's more of a duffel bag that has backpack straps as opposed to a more traditional travel backpack such as this one. But if you don't mind that and you're just kind of curious to see what other styles of travel bags are out there, I definitely recommend taking a look at that one as well. But compared to all those bags, the Hynes Eagle travel backpack has held up super well, and again, I can't emphasize how impressive the $80 price point is for the type of bag that we have here. So really great job, lots of amazing features and comfort. The bag really holds a ton and it's going to be a great travel bag option for a majority of travelers. So I want to go ahead and thank the company again for sending the bag for me to test out. And if you guys found this video useful, please go ahead and give us a like below. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.